What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously here once again. I am here to do my 2020 NFL Playoffs Wildcard Weekend predictions. Now, with the regular season in the books, we are now into my favorite part of the NFL season and where it really matters the most, and that's the NFL Playoffs. And the road to Super Bowl 55 begins now, and it starts right here on Wildcard Weekend. So I'm extremely excited to do my wildcard predictions for you guys in the 2020 NFL Playoffs, and this is our first video on the channel in 2021. So sit back, relax, grab something to drink and eat, and grab your favorite NFL jersey, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record in the NFL playoffs last year was great. We went 7-4, and our overall NFL playoff record on the channel is 27-17. So we're coming in hot, and I'm looking to keep it that way. So hoping this video we will continue. The red hot winning waves are on a 2-year winning streak. Hoping this video we make it 3 years in a row. Hopefully. And hope you guys will be able to watch this video and all the great videos I'll be putting up on the channel in 2021, especially in the month of January. And as always, show your support on the channel as always, guys, by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, and commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your NFL teams in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, guys, as a first-time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, big to go. And if you're a huge fan of the NFL like myself, and you're ready for this year's Wild Card Weekend, welcome to the Dangerous Lions. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is just two. Woo, again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these wild card predictions. Let's start off with the AFC wild card showdown, starting off with the first matchup pitting the Indianapolis Colts heading to Orchard Park to face the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Indianapolis Colts are coming off a very good 11-5 season, and the Colts are back here on Wild Card Weekend for the first time since 2018, and they're looking to punch their ticket to the AFC Divisional round for the first time since 2018. Now, this Colts team got it done this year on the back of Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor, and T.Y. Hilton, and the Colts are looking to start off Wild Card Weekend with a huge victory on the road. Their side, you have the AFC East champions, the Buffalo Bills, coming off their amazing 13-3 season, and the Bills here are back on Wild Card Weekend for the second consecutive year, and they're looking to end a long losing streak here. Now, here's a dangerous fact. Since the Bills' last victory on Wild Card Weekend all the way back in 1995, the Bills are 0-5 on Wild Card Weekend. So they're looking to end a long losing streak, and they're looking to punch their ticket to the AFC Divisional round for the first time in 25 years. And I will have to say, the Buffalo Bills were one of the biggest stories in the NFL season in 2020. I mean, the fact that Josh Allen really brought this team back from the dead after making the playoffs last year and making the playoffs this year, winning the AFC East Division title for the first time in 25 years. And this Bills team is hungrier than they have ever been. And they're looking to bring a Super Bowl championship home to the city of Buffalo. And they're looking to start their road to the Super Bowl right here at home. So coming from me in this AFC wildcard showdown to see who will advance to the AFC Divisional round, this one should be good. Phillip Rivers versus Josh Allen. This one's going to be really good. But coming from me, I am going to go with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and the Buffalo Bills to get it done at home and defeat the Indianapolis Colts in a very close shootout and advance to the AFC Divisional round for the first time in 25 years. And now the next wildcard matchup. It is an AFC North rivalry showdown between the Cleveland Browns heading to Heinz Field to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Cleveland Browns are coming off an amazing year this year, finishing at 11-5, and the Browns are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2002. So this franchise has been waiting 18 years to punch their ticket back to the playoffs. And the Browns are looking to get their first wildcard victory since 1994. And if I remember right, Bill Belichick was the coach of the Cleveland Browns back in '94. So it's been a very, very long time since the Browns have won a wild card game. And they're looking to punch their ticket to the AFC Divisional round for the first time in nearly 26 years. Now, you talk about the story in the NFL. It had to be the Cleveland Browns in the AFC North. I mean, the fact that losing their star wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., with a torn ACL, a lot of fans like myself thought the Cleveland Browns would go back to what they used to be, a team that's always playing for draft choices and having terrible seasons. But the Cleveland Browns proved a lot of people wrong in 2020, finishing at 11-5. Who would have thought that the Cleveland Browns would finish the year with 11 victories, and they finally end their long drought of not making the playoffs, finally ending in 2020 after an 18-year stint of not making the playoffs. But this Cleveland Browns team is looking to make their return back to the playoffs a memorable one by getting a huge victory on the road. Their side, you have the AFC North champions, the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming off their 12-4 season, and the Steelers are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2017, and the Steelers are looking to punch their ticket to the AFC Divisional round for the first time since 2016. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, earlier in the year, was maybe the hottest team in the AFC other than the Kansas City Chiefs. They were 11-0, but they fell short in 2 games against Buffalo and Cincinnati, but they turned it around in week 15. I think it was week 15 or week 16, defeating the Indianapolis Colts after being down 21-7 to win the AFC North title. And then they fell short on Sunday to the Cleveland Browns, even though Big Ben rested and most of their defense rested. But when you have a healthy Pittsburgh Steelers team with Big Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers are a very dangerous team, and they're looking to make a road back to the Super Bowl to bring another title to the Steel City. So coming from me in this AFC North rivalry showdown on Wildcard Weekend to see who will advance to the AFC Divisional round, can the Cleveland Browns make it 2 weeks in a row against the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's the biggest question. But can they do it when Big Ben is playing? That's the biggest question coming in. But coming from me, as much as I am happy as an NFL fan for the Cleveland Browns for ending their long playoff drought, I am going to go with Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers to get it done at home and defeat the Cincinnati Bengals in a close shootout and advance to the AFC Divisional round for the first time since 2016. And now the final AFC wildcard game, and it is a rematch of last year's AFC divisional matchup between the Baltimore Ravens heading to Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans. Now, we all remember what happened last year with the wildcard team, the Tennessee Titans, coming into Baltimore and knocking off the Baltimore Ravens. So this is the much-anticipated rematch, but the roles are reversed. Now, starting off with the Baltimore Ravens first, they're coming off a very good 11-5 season, and the Ravens are back in the wildcard weekend for the first time since 2014, and they're looking to punch their ticket back to the AFC Divisional round for the second year in a row. Now, the Ravens last year were in the Divisional round without playing in Wildcard Weekend, but they fell short to the Wildcard shocker, the Tennessee Titans. So the Baltimore Ravens have been waiting over a year for this opportunity to get some revenge against a team that cost them a shot at the AFC Championship and a possible Super Bowl run for Lamar Action Jackson. Their side, you have the AFC South champions, the Tennessee Titans, coming off their victory on Sunday over the Houston Texans, clinching the division, and the Titans are back in Wildcard Weekend for the second consecutive year, and they're looking to see if lightning can strike twice. We all remember what Tennessee did last year. They went into New England, beat New England on Wildcard Weekend last year. Went into Baltimore last year in the divisional round, beat Baltimore on the road. And they made it all the way up to the AFC Championship game before losing to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. So can Tennessee do it again from Wildcard Weekend to AFC Championship or a possible Super Bowl for the Tennessee Titans? We're going to see if they can get that lightning that they had last year back this year. So coming from me in this final AFC Wildcard game to see who will advance to the AFC Divisionals. Oh, man, this one's such a tough pick because I did pick Baltimore last year and they let me down. So I'm going to do this. If I pick Baltimore this year, if they don't win, I won't pick Baltimore for 4 weeks on the channel when we get back to NFL predictions late in 2021 in September. So Baltimore, you have been warned. So coming from me, I may get this one wrong, but I am going to go with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and the Tennessee Titans to get it done at home and defeat the Baltimore Ravens in a very close shootout and punch their ticket back to the AFC Divisional round. And now on to the NFC wildcard game, starting off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Landover to face the Washington Football Team. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off an 11-5 season this year, and the Buccaneers are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2007. And the Bucs are looking to end a losing streak on wildcard weekend. Now, here's a dangerous fact. Since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' last wildcard victory all the way back in 1997, the Buccaneers are 0-4 on wildcard weekend. So they're looking to end a long losing streak here, and they're looking to punch their ticket back to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2002. And we all know what that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team did in 2002. They won the Super Bowl. Now, this Buccaneers team really were the talk of the NFL in the offseason with the big additions of Tom Brady from New England and Rob Gronkowski from the Patriots. And a lot of people were thinking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to be the team in the NFC. They were going to win the NFC South, but things changed. They did not beat New Orleans. They got swept by New Orleans in the regular season, but they persevered through all of that and finished the year at 11-5, and they are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2007. I know a lot of Bucs fans in my comment section that have been waiting to see the Bucs back in the playoffs, and I gotta say, they absolutely earned it this year. From years of having winless years and 7-9 years, 8-8 years, not making the playoffs, to finally making the playoffs with Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time at his age. I think he's 43 years old. And the fact that Tampa Bay has so many weapons for Brady. It's like a kid in a toy store. I mean, you got players like Ronald Jones. They're a fantastic running back. Goodwin, Evans, Antonio Brown, who the Buccaneers signed in free agency. You got Rob Gronkowski, Mr. Clutch. This Buccaneers team is loaded from top to bottom for Tom Brady to use any way he can, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking to start off Wildcard Weekend with a huge victory on the road. They're excited to have the NFC East Division champions, the Washington football team, coming off their victory on Sunday Night Football over the Philadelphia Eagles to clinch the division title. And the Washington football team is back in the playoffs for the first time since 2015, since they were the Washington Redskins. And they are looking to end their losing streak on Wildcard Weekend as well, because here's a dangerous fact: since their last victory in 2005 on Wildcard Weekend, the Washington football team is 0-3 all-time on Wildcard Weekend. So they're looking to end a long losing streak here, and they're looking to punch their ticket to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2005. Now, when you look at the Washington football team, yes, they are 7-9. Yes, they were in the worst division in the NFL, the NFC least. But do not count out a 7-9 team, because on Wildcard Weekend, the crazy things happen. We all remember what my Seattle Seahawks did at 7-9 in 2010 against the Saints with the Marshawn Lynch run, and we do remember the 2014 Carolina Panthers, who came into Wildcard Weekend at 7-8-1 and winning a wildcard game. And the one thing that they have in common: Ron Rivera coached that team in 2014 for Carolina. So Ron Rivera knows how to win with a losing record on Wildcard Weekend. And you got to give Ron Rivera a hell of a lot of credit for somebody who was diagnosed with cancer, going through the chemo and all that, and then coming back to his team, getting rid of the distraction that was Dwayne Haskins Jr., and getting Alex Smith back after a near career-threatening leg injury to come back this year and bring his team to the playoffs. He's got to be the comeback player of the year. If he's not the comeback player of the year, I don't know what's wrong with the NFL. But Alex Smith having one hell of a year after nearly having his career ended. And the Washington football team is looking to overcome the odds as a 7-9 team and get a big victory at home on Wildcard Weekend. So coming from me in this NFC Wildcard Showdown to see who will advance to the NFC Divisional round. Oh, you talk about a great story with the Washington football team, but I think the bigger story is Tom Brady bringing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back from the dead and bringing them here into the playoffs. And I think it would be really stupid for me to pick against Tom Brady, especially if he's playing for another team and he's doing it so much better there. So coming from me, I am going to go with Tom Brady, Ronald Jones, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get it done on the road and defeat the Washington football team in a close shootout and advance to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2002. And now the next wildcard matchup, and this one I'm really excited for because it is the NFC West rivalry showdown between the Los Angeles Rams heading to CenturyLink to face my Seattle Seahawks. Now these two met on Week 16 in CenturyLink Field, and that was for the NFC West Division title, in which my Seattle Seahawks defeated the Los Angeles Rams. So this is the much anticipated rematch on Wildcard Weekend. Now starting off with the Los Angeles Rams first, they're coming off their 10-6 season. They found a way to get into the playoffs by defeating the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday, and the Rams are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2018. They're looking to win a game on Wildcard Weekend for the first time since 2004, back when they were the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Rams are looking the St. Louis Rams, excuse me, I'm thinking baseball there. And the Rams are looking to punch their ticket to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2018. And we all know that 2018 team went to the Super Bowl and lost to my New England Patriots. But this Rams team is really surprisingly lucky to make it to the playoffs after losing to the 0-13 New York Jets. And all I can say about that is, how can you trust the Rams after losing to an 0-13 New York Jets team this season? And they may not even have Jared Goff for this game, because in that Week 16 matchup, Jared Goff broke his thumb and he couldn't make the Week 17 game. So they have to start up their backup, Wofford, out of Wake Forest. And he got it done for the Rams. But I don't know how far this rookie can get the Rams to the playoffs if Jared Goff is still out for that broken thumb. But the Rams are looking to exact their revenge against my Seattle Seahawks by knocking them out of the playoffs on the road. The other side, you have the NFC West Division champions, my Seattle Seahawks, coming off their 12-4 season this year and defeating the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. And the Seahawks are back in the playoffs for the second consecutive year. We're back in the Wildcard Weekend for the second consecutive year. And we're looking to punch our ticket to the NFC Divisional round for the second consecutive year. Now, the Seattle Seahawks last year had a lot of running back injuries that really stopped us from advancing farther in the NFC playoffs last year. But the Seahawks this year have a fantastic running game. I mean, you got the three-headed monster of Chris Carson, C-Dub, Carlos Hyde, DJ Dallas, and you got Rashad Penny. You got the dynamic duos at wide receiver with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, who I think will have a monster year if he stays in Seattle. And then you have the chef himself, Chef Russell Wilson, looking to make another deep run into the playoffs and possibly bring another Super Bowl championship to the city of Seattle. So coming from me in this NFC West rivalry showdown on Wildcard Weekend this year to see who will advance to the NFC divisional matchup. Ooh, this one should be good. But if Jared Goff doesn't play, this game is going to be over. And per my punishment, I said that if the Rams lost to the winless New York Jets, I wouldn't pick them for the rest of the year. And if they made the playoffs, I wouldn't pick them. So, as a man of my word, I am going to go with Dangerous, DK, Lockett, and my Seattle Seahawks to make it two in a row against the Rams and get it done at home and defeat the Los Angeles Rams in a close defensive shootout and advance to the NFC divisional round for the second consecutive year. And now the final NFC wildcard game in the 2020 NFL Playoffs wildcard weekend between the Chicago Bears heading to the Superdome to face the New Orleans Saints. The Chicago Bears are coming off an 8-8 season, falling short to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, but with a little help for the Los Angeles Rams defeating the Arizona Cardinals, the Bears are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2018. They're looking to win a wildcard game for the first time since 1994, and the Bears are looking to punch their ticket to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2010. Now, I know my good friend, the Gamer's Goon, who is a longtime Chicago Bears fan, has got to be happy they made the playoffs. Even though they lost to the Packers, yes, they made the playoffs. So you got to be happy about that, Gamer's Goon. I know losing to the Packers is not easy, but you got to take it as it is. Arizona didn't win. You got in. So that's all I got to say. But you got to say enough for Mitchell Trubisky. From a guy who got benched by Matt Nagy, started Nick Foles. Nick Foles did nothing. They put Mitchell Trubisky back in, and Mitchell Trubisky got the Bears to the playoffs, whether anybody likes it or not, including the head coach, who didn't even believe he could win games as a starting quarterback for the Bears. And I'm telling you right now, Nagy is gone after this year. He has to be gone for Mitchell Trubisky to start anew as the starting quarterback for the Bears. And hopefully they'll get a great coach to help the Bears bring back the prominence of the team that was like dominant back in the 80s. Or back when, back when the Bears were actually really good. And when you got a defense like with Khalil Mack, I mean, that's pretty damn impressive. But the Bears are looking to pull off a huge upset on Wildcard Weekend and looking to do it on the road. The other side, you have the NFC South champions, the New Orleans Saints, coming off another amazing regular season, finishing at 12-4, and the Saints are back in the playoffs for the second consecutive year. They're looking to win on Wildcard Weekend for the first time since 2017, and they're looking to punch their ticket to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2018. But for me, this is the Saints' last chance. It's Super Bowl or bust for them this year because, again, the Saints have an amazing regular season every year. They win the NFC South title almost every year. But when they get to the playoffs, they find a way to choke. And really, this is Sean Payton's last chance. And this could be Drew Brees' last opportunity at a title, at a Super Bowl championship, because the Saints just seem like the Houston Rockets and the Milwaukee Bucks of the NFL. They can have an amazing year. They can go undefeated in the regular season and find a way to lose in the playoffs. And that's been the problem for the New Orleans Saints. They have an amazing regular season, and then when they get to the postseason, they don't show up. And this is another year that it's either going to be a great year with a magical postseason, or it's going to be another miserable postseason with a wasted regular season year. So really, everything is on the line for the Saints if they want to get back to the Super Bowl title and bring another title to New Orleans. So coming from me in this final NFC Wildcard Showdown in the 2020 NFL Playoffs Wildcard Weekend to see who will advance to the NFC Divisional round, Do I think Chicago has a chance in beating New Orleans? Absolutely. I mean, anything can happen on Wildcard Weekend. We've seen it before. So I wouldn't be surprised we see one or maybe two upsets here. But coming from me, I am going to go with Drew Brees, and hopefully Alvin Kamara will be ready to go, and Michael Thomas and the New Orleans Saints to get it done at home and defeat the Chicago Bears and punch their ticket back to the NFC Divisional round for the first time since 2018. And those are my 2020 NFL Playoffs Wildcard Weekend predictions. Now I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video today. Comment below, who do you see winning on Wildcard Weekend this year in the 2020 NFL Playoffs? Let me know who you guys got, and let me know, do you see any dangerous teams coming out of Wildcard Weekend that can make a run to the playoffs and possibly the AFC or NFC Championship? Let me know who you got in the comment section and your picks. And as always, represent your NFL teams in the comment section. Even if they didn't make the playoffs this year, or if you're a fan of the New York Jets or the Jacksonville Jaguars, still represent your team in the comment section and your picks. Let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course reply right back to you, because comments and your opinions are absolutely always welcome on this channel. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching my first video on the channel in 2021, my NFL Playoff Wildcard Weekend predictions. Now, before you guys go, as always, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button to become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and YouTube tells me that 44% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. So let's change that. If you're a fan of professional wrestling like myself, fan of WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, NXT, if you're a fan of professional sports when it comes to Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, college basketball, college football, super kick that subscribe button. It's free, and you can become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance. And I will see you guys next week for my next big video. Later days, guys. Have a wonderful week. Happy New Year from the Dangerous Alliance. Later days and peace. The road to Super Bowl 55 begins now.